Who's Edmond Dantes? And who's my father? And my mother? My brother? My friend? Who is you? And me? Who's all of us?
Yeah, g'day YouTube and everyone out there. So I'm sorry about my voice, people. I lost my voice during the last couple of days. All I have to do is ask the governments out there. Now, we're getting a classic example right now. For the rest of the world, I want you to put all your eyes on America. Because at the moment, we have thousands and thousands of protesters in different states gathering on the street that are right next to each other. And if this virus is contagious, is what they're really telling everyone, we should have giant spikes in deaths and we should have giant spikes in cases. Cases are always going up because, you know, they don't know how to test for it. They give you the speculation. If you have it, you've got it. But, like I said, the whole world right now, watch America, because they have proven to you that the virus is fake. And they're also proving to the rest of the world what you have to do and get off your asses and get outside. That's all I'm saying that we have to do. Come on, people. America's showing the way. You know, Trump's got the backing of the people, but he's actually under federal control at the moment because he's given away all the power, but he's still backing the people. When was the last time you ever heard of anything like that go down? Now, we have to understand that all these people that are gathering, they're not going to get sick because there is no virus. And look how many thousands and thousands are actually breaking that social distancing law right now and gathering on top of each other. If the virus was contagious as what it is, all those people wouldn't be back out and protesting again. They'd be sick. And that's the truth of what's going on. The whole world is being a stage at the moment. The pandemic is a mirage. It's an illusion. You see it, that's happening, but it's not really there. Just like you see shit in the desert and that. This is not really there. It's a manipulation to use fake statistics and a fake false flag event once again to try to push everyone in the world to become more global, and all of these corporations can join together and become that one corporate headquarters that controls over the entire world. That is the plan and the agenda behind this, people. Are we going to let this happen? That's what it comes down to at the end. So, as I said, I offered Scott Morrison a simple solution to this, and the rest of the world, I offer you the same solution. Prove to us, the people, that the virus is real, because virologists and epidemiologists and people that have high MDs and they're the top of their craft, of their fields, are coming out. And these people are a lot smarter than anyone from WHO. So I don't understand why WHO's being listened to when you have these high educated graduate degrees that these other people have that blow away WHO's understanding of what the immune system is and the functioning of the body, of the proper health of a person, rather than going straight to Big Pharma and just saying, oh, well, let's just put either medication or vaccination in them to cure anything. Because that is not medicine. That is dictatorship and eugenic control. And this is what that is all about. We do not want anything to do with WHO. WHO is a disgrace to this entire world. The fact that they are saying exactly the same as what they did in Event 201 and even have the same broadcasters saying the same to the world as an Event 201 is an absolute joke. But I'll be putting the video up a bit later, which is explaining all the duality to this situation, because there is a lot of dualities. And remember, the whole world works by duality. So, but like I said to the world, and I said to Scott, if you want to prove to us that this virus is real and the virus can spread and it's non-bacterial, because you've already just said it's just a viral infection, put me in a room with 2 COVID-19 patients that are suspected to have severe case of COVID-19, and also another 98 people or another 97 people with me, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of people that we glad to do it just to prove you's wrong. And let us be in that room with those 2 COVID-19 patients for 2 weeks. I guarantee after that 2 weeks, if anything, 1 or 2 other people may become sick and the other people won't be sick anymore, or none of us will be sick, because it's a common flu and it's being sold as something that it's not. And because it's a common flu we have every year and we don't look at it every year and we take it for granted, they've decided to pick on it because they know the spread rate of flu. They understand what coronavirus is. They even knew that if they said the word coronavirus, then no one would be able to pinpoint COVID-19. And that's what it's all about. It's about not being able to say that COVID-19 exists or if it does exist. And that's how they've left us all in limbo land, in a place where they can decide and do whatever they want in the name of a fake stage pandemic in order to gain more powers and more laws and more control over the populations that right throughout the entire world, all at once in one big move towards the New World Order agenda and that tyrannical control one world army and that one world police force. So, as I said, people, look at America. If they're outside, they're not becoming sick. Even their president knows that this is a hoax. He would not be telling the people to liberate the states and get outside. He would be more concerned about the health of the people. He knows it's a hoax. Whether he played along with it, whether he is still doing something good, it's hard to remain seen, because there is always those played oppositions, and that's what they've done to us throughout the entire life. So it's hard to tell, but the fact is, no matter if it is that, or if it isn't, it doesn't matter. It's showing you right now what we got to do. Go outside. Go and collect everyone you can. Go and do what you normally do. Open your business. Start up everything again. Ignore the government and start up everything throughout the entire world again. So every government sits there with their jaw dropped at the people and how we retaliate to control our world to make it go in the direction that we need it to go in. Because it is a proven fact right now that all of these protesters should be very sick, because, hey, COVID-19's in everyone almost. So the question is, are we going to stop seeing protests now? Are all these people all of a sudden going to become sick with COVID-19? Or are we just going to see right now that the whole stage has just been faked right through? And I think that's what we're seeing, people. If you open your eyes and you can see, you'll see what's happening to this world, and we need to all be a part of it. Because remember, we are all one collective, and our one collective is a lot stronger than that little 1% collective, mate, that think that they have all the authority and control over us. Because without our consent, and without us acknowledging them as having any authority, they have nothing. And that's what we got to understand. Our perception creates our reality. And the way that our behavioural modification programs have run throughout our entire life, from all these different agendas, from all these different laws, and from all these trends and these governmental controls over our society, then this is the way we've been programmed. And this is now where we wake up and we understand and say, this is not right. We've had enough of this, and this is our time, because at the moment, this is the time of limbo, because during this time, a lot of governments are doing a lot more to move into a lot more, and they're controlling. Trust us, they're doing a lot more behind the scenes. And we've got to get out there and stop all this before it gets to past that next phase and onto the stage that they want us to get to next, where they can start implementing even more tyrannical control over us than these so-called applications and this the verified fucking like the very chip from back in the day, but now it's Bill Gates' sign of the vaccination ID, and all of this has to go. It's an atrocious program, it's grotesque, and it's dangerous to the health and the liberties of every single human on the face of this earth, whether it be a newborn infant to an elderly person that's wise and lived their life. And we had the government now saying that they can just put people down. You know, do not resuscitate order is euthanasia. It's put people down.
Anthony Fauci. He's a bit on the short side, seemingly always has this creepy Joker grin on his face, and wants you and your family to be forcibly vaccinated against the Wuhan coronavirus before you'll ever again be allowed to leave your house for anything other than cattle pen grocery shopping. One of the nation's most hated deep state tool bags at this point, Fauci exposes himself as a wolf in sheep's clothing just a little bit more with each passing day. And now that we know the guy works for Bill Gates and Big Pharma, the cat is pretty much out of the bag as to his true intentions. But are enough people paying attention? While feigning expertise in the area of virology, Fauci continues to use his platform to push a vaccine on the public that doesn't even exist yet. Fauci is also vehemently opposed to all other potential treatment options, including inexpensive remedies that already exist and are being used elsewhere in the world with notable success. Fauci would seem to have a vested interest in seeing a Wuhan coronavirus vaccine not only come to fruition, but be the only medical treatment option available to Americans, even though success against the pandemic is already being seen with hydroxychloroquine, for instance, a malaria drug that costs just a few cents per dose. Fauci is so determined to get a Wuhan coronavirus vaccine launched and spread across the country as quickly as possible that he's actually now threatening to never let anyone out of their houses ever again unless they agree to get jabbed in accordance with his desires. Fauci recently stated, quote, "When we get back to normal, we will go back to the point where we can function as a society. But if you want to get back to pre-coronavirus, that might not ever happen in the sense that the threat is there. But I believe that with the therapies that will be coming online and the fact that I feel confident that over a period of time we will get a good vaccine, that we will never have to get back to where we are right now." End quote. As it turns out, Fauci quietly sits on the leadership council of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's Global Vaccine Action Plan, which is currently reaching the finality of its so-called Decade of Vaccines initiative that began in 2010. This fully explains why he's gone all in for a future Wuhan coronavirus vaccine, and while he's signaled that Americans will continue to be held hostage until they agree to get it. Like Gates, Fauci stands to make millions of dollars from the release of a COVID-19 vaccine, which seems to have been the agenda all along. He probably wasn't expecting President Trump to ever make any mention of hydroxychloroquine, nor did he anticipate anything other than full compliance from the American people, who've been scared to death by this social engineering experiment, also known as 9/11 2.0. But Fauci's cover has been blown, and everyone who's paying attention can now see him for the rat and the war criminal that he really is. The guy only cares about forcing a vaccine on you and couldn't care less whether you live or die in the process, just like his buddy, Bill Gates. The true agenda of Anthony Fauci couldn't be clearer. And let's just say this agenda isn't exactly a good one. The Obama regime leftover, who bragged a few years back that he's worked in 5 different White House administrations, doesn't want people to use hydroxychloroquine to treat this virus. Instead, he wants them to wait for a new blockbuster coronavirus vaccine because that's what will generate the biggest profits for the pharmaceutical industry. Fauci didn't exactly say this last part, of course, but he didn't have to. By telling Americans not to look at hydroxychloroquine as a knockout drug, but to instead view some theoretical vaccine that doesn't even yet exist as the ultimate game changer, Fauci has exposed himself as the deep state swamp creature, and again, war criminal that he truly is. Fauci told Fox News, quote, "We still need to do the definitive studies to determine whether any intervention, not just this one, is truly safe and effective. But when you don't have that information, it's understandable why people may want to try something anyway, even with the slightest hint of it being effective." This sounds like the same nonsense spewed by political hacks in prohibition states who are always calling for more research into the safety and effectiveness of cannabis, for instance, in order to permit their residents to use it. And the worst part is, there is solid evidence to show that hydroxychloroquine does in fact work on coronavirus patients. An international survey of some 6,227 doctors in 30 different countries determined that hydroxychloroquine, or chloroquine, is currently rated as the most effective therapy overall when it comes to treating COVID-19, at least when it comes to pharmaceutical interventions. How we know, without a doubt, that Fauci is a lying scumbag who's shilling for Big Pharma is the fact that he spoke about this coronavirus crisis back in 2017, openly admitting that President Trump would be facing a surprise outbreak during his presidential term. Somehow, Fauci knew in advance about the Wuhan coronavirus and that it would become a major global pandemic, and is now trying to stop people from using something that works and instead wait for Bill Gates or whatever other vaccine interests are busy working on them to release vaccines that will supposedly provide a cure against this novel virus. Now, keep in mind that chloroquine tablets currently run about 4 cents a dose, or about $1 per course. This is insanely inexpensive and could easily provide blanket coverage for every person in the world. Meanwhile, a course of remdesivir, a drug that Fauci has personally invested his own money to support trials for, costs upwards of $1,000 per course. In other words, Fauci isn't concerned with helping others. He's concerned with helping himself and other shareholders who are obviously hoping to profit heavily from the Wuhan coronavirus crisis due to all of the new therapeutics they're expecting to be unveiled in the coming months. Fauci is nothing more than a modern-day Joseph Mengele, experimenting on humans, touting and collaborating with eugenics fanatics, denying empirically effective and inexpensive treatments. Fauci is the 21st century angel of death.